Hello, welcome back to our discussions of MySQL. We've learned a lot about the select statement. It's time to review. So we see the select statement begins with a select clause with a select list, normally a comma delimited list of the columns you want to see in the result set. Then our data source, from table. The next thing we've studied is the where clause, which we've also referred to as a data filter. What conditions rows must satisfy using a comparison predicate. So a comparison predicate is a Boolean expression. So if the row satisfies the comparison predicate, it belongs in the result set. If it doesn't satisfy the comparison predicate, it's not in the result set. Let's read the rest of this sentence, this paragraph. Only sees the columns and rows themselves, cannot be applied to aggregate results. To understand this statement, let's think about what the where clause does. Show me the average payment made in the month of April 2020. So the where clause comes into play to filter the data set, the payments made in the month of April. And then that data set is fed into the aggregate function, the average payment made in that filtered month. To ask the where clause to use an aggregate function is to therefore ask it to solve a potentially circular problem. Filter the data and then also filter by the result of an aggregate function. It can't do that. It has to filter the basic data and then feed it in to the aggregate function. So its superpower is basic data tables. The rows in the data tables, that's what it sees. Even if those columns aren't in a select statement, the where clause can be used and can use those columns in its comparison predicate. Important to understand. The next clause we've studied is the order by clause, which we've seen is a sorting expression with primary, comma secondary, comma tertiary results, and so forth. And you can use that to sort your result set. Otherwise, your select statement has completely arbitrary order in terms of the data it returns. The limit clause, very simple but important. So you can use the limit clause to limit your result set size. This would be used in the case where you anticipating a very large data set, let's say millions of rows. Possible. SQL manages a lot of data. You can't use a select statement that returns millions of rows. You have to sip at the data. Give me 1,000 rows at a time, and that's where the limit clause comes into effect. So the next thing we're going to study is group by and having. And these clauses work intimately with the aggregate functions. So we'll take a look at that next.